Ross, coming into this deadline, all eyes were on Marcus Stroman and Ken Giles. Just how close were you to pulling the trigger on a deal with Ken?
Yeah, there was plenty of interest in him. I think the timing of the injury just complicated it too much for teams. It was really hard for them to get their hands around and their arms around what that would mean for them moving forward. So obviously you talk about contingencies and different ways to line up, but in the end we're very glad to have Ken here and feel good about him coming back onto the team or helping the team again here in short term, and we'll see where that takes us, but we're glad we have him.
Usually with closers at the deadline it goes up until the last minute. Had you had preliminary conversations before the elbow became an issue to gauge what the price tag was then?
Yeah, we were really transparent with teams. There was nothing that we were keeping from them and making sure that they had all the answers that they needed, so we were proactive with that they could understand what they were, what potential risks would be ahead of them.
Ross, what was the need to trade Aaron Sanchez now?
Certainly wasn't a need. He's been great for the Toronto Blue Jays. What he did in 15-16 was exceptional, and I'll be pulling for him. It was just the opportunity. We love Derek Fisher. Really, really excited about adding him to this core. He'll complement us well. How hard he hits the ball, how fast he runs, playing all three, the handedness, complementing the young outfielders that we do have now. Really excited about our infielders. And listen, this is a game of depth. And you look at the Houston Astros, the Los Angeles Dodgers. We talk about it all the time. We came in here with a plan to build as much depth as we possibly can, and we're going to continue to add to this core. And now today's another day that we feel better about it. I think we've added in today 42 years of control of young talent that is 25 and under. So that's a very good feeling to have that amount of youth come into the system.
Was Sanchez a requirement to get Fisher back? Because you just look at it. I mean, Sanchez's value is low. I mean, the stock is low right now, and the question becomes, why not wait? Why not just see what he could become and get a little more than what you got?
Yeah, I mean, it really just comes down to him lining up too with the control. So there's only one more year of control with Aaron Sanchez. He's had a tough year. He's had, really a tough 3 years from an injury standpoint. So, what that means going forward, it's hard for a pitcher to recover and bounce back and haul 200 innings year in and year out, and I hope that he does. But because of where we were in the timeline, we had an opportunity to acquire what we feel is an everyday center fielder and someone that can play all three. And as I said, hits the ball hard and is an exciting young athlete. So very glad to have added Derek Fisher. We'll be pulling for Aaron Sanchez. He's been an unbelievable human being here, and I love seeing his face, and I'll miss him.
Ross, when you look at where this thing is now headed, what's next?
Stick to our plan. Stick to our plan to continue to build depth, and now we'll look to transition some young pitching. We'll have to continue to add to it, and when that depth has transitioned and we feel as though it's time to double and triple down, be as aggressive as anyone. We'll have more opportunity to do that than any team in baseball. So we'll have one of the better young farm systems. We'll have the youngest team in baseball that's transitioned. You're seeing that today, and then what that looks like and how exciting and fun that is. And when we see that young pitching transitioning and that core coming together, we'll have waves of talent behind it and more financial flexibility than anyone. So I can't imagine really a better starting situation for an organization. Now, as hard as it is for fans today to think about what it means in terms of wins and losses, we are set up very well for the future.
But a lot of those fans also want to know when. When is it going to be that you can double and triple up to go make that next move?
I think that any executive would tell you that you can't, with human talent, you can't say when that timeline is. But I think you've already seen as Lourdes Gurriel transitions, and as Vladdy is getting more and more comfortable, as Cavan transitions, the way that Danny Jansen has bounced back, the improvements of Waguespack and Thornton getting through the year the way he has and becoming a potential middle and certainly rotation reputation piece for the organization. We're going to continue to have waves of that coming, and Nate Pearson and Patrick Murphy, TJ Zoik, adding Simeon Woods Richardson and Anthony Kay to that group. Those pitchers are going to transition, and we'll have waves behind them that will continue to come from Kloffenstein and Williams. That those numbers are just getting greater and greater, and whether that's a year from now or two. And I remember saying to you a year ago this time that whether or not that's 3 years or two, we'll see. So it's not as far off as fans think. I think if you think about the Houston Astros in 14, it was a very similar group to this one. If you think about the Atlanta Braves in 17, it was a very similar group to this one. So we're confident that it's coming and it's coming soon.
Ross, when you think about kind of what's ahead and where this franchise goes from here, pitching depth you mentioned, but front of the line pitchers are really the heartbeat of this. In your mind right now in the organization, how many of those exist?
Yeah, I mean, it's so really every year you have a great story, and some of the better pitchers in baseball. It's not just the Verlanders and the Scherzers. There's the DeGroms and the Klubers that weren't the first round pick. They weren't the guys that everyone was counting on to turn the organization around. We're going to have those stories. In addition to that, we have Nate Pearson and Patrick Murphy and now Simeon Woods Richardson. So Alek Manoah is someone we're exceptionally excited about. So the list is longer, and as Sean Reed Foley continues to develop, and as some of these assets that have come into the organization have opportunities to improve, we're going to have major league opportunities for them, and we're very confident and feel that this plan is working, it's coming together, and this organization is in very good shape.
Finally, since Sunday, there have been some rival executives who anonymously have said, hey, the Blue Jays didn't get enough for Stroman. There are some fans who feel the same way. What's your response to that? Yeah,
I think some of that, I think people look at industry rankings, and industry rankings have become a big thing. And for us, we love Simeon Woods Richardson and we love Anthony Kay. So we don't feel that way. We feel very good about their return.
Ross, appreciate the time.
All right, Arash.